Welcome, first of all, to this webinar. Thank you for making time for the Pixel Perfect Master the Use of QR Codes across industries and channels. My name is Roman Russo. I am the QR code expert here in QR Tiger. My job responsibility actually is sales, and I work primarily with people who are enterprise. What it means is that big companies that need thousands of QR codes. I realize that most people on this call today will not need like 1,000 QR codes. You will need 1, 10, 100 maybe. And that's completely fine because you can do so much with one QR code. So today, my job will be also to inspire you to see the different ways how you can use your QR codes across different industries. I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of people with different backgrounds, with ideas what you want to do with QR codes. And this is all great because our system, as you will see, is very big. It's very adaptive. There is a lot of things you can already do. Something else that we were going to do, I'm not sure if we're still going to do it, but I hope we will, is that by the end of this presentation, when we finish, everybody who is on the call will get like a certificate of attendance. You will say that, hey, you attended this webinar, now you are a QR code expert. The biggest question is, what would be your ideal QR code campaign? Now, you already probably have an idea in mind. Some of people trying to understand what they want to do, what they can do with QR codes. And we see that QR codes are just everywhere nowadays. It's like a very big industry which is growing and exploding. We see that people are using it on different products. They're using on tracking goods. For example, if you have a parcel, you can track it in a world, or you can just scan the QR code on top of the parcel and you will see what's inside the parcel. So that's kind of great. And you can improve your workflows and paperwork. The biggest distinction that I need to address from the get-go is the difference between the static QR codes and the dynamic QR codes. Now, static QR codes are very simple. You can create them as many as you want. There's no problem. Just go ahead. If you want 100 QR codes, statics, you can do it. But there is a limitation to a static QR code. Now, first of all, it's very dense. There is a lot of pixels here. If you put it on top of your marketing products or whatever, and then later you say, hey, I need to change this, you cannot do it. So that's one of the limitations. And the second one is that you don't have any data. So I thought that already for many people, data would be important, and we will go into data just in a second. But, if you are creating QR code, if you're creating marketing campaigns, sometimes you want to know if it's effective or not. And for many companies, it's literally like, they're creating this huge campaigns and they don't know what's happening. And actually, a lot of companies nowadays using QR codes specifically to track the effectiveness, because you have a billboard and people scan the QR code and hey, so many people actually interacted with your campaign. So it's a great way to get more information. So now you see a dynamic QR code. This is just an example. You can see that it's way more pretty. There is a lot of things you can do. This is where we called eyes. You can edit the eyes. You can edit the pattern here. You can put your logo in the center, edit it, and track data. So that's kind of way nicer. This is just a little bit of information about different types of data that you get, points. I will actually show you in real life how it looks in practice just in a second. And you will see that we have many different types of QR codes. So the times when it was just the URL is gone. I believe that there are 20 different QR codes types. So I'm actually going to change a little bit of a point of view. Now we're actually going to look at the interface itself, and we will see what you can do with different QR codes, and we will address many other questions. So I'm going to use an example of DHL just because, as you will see later, we have many different brands that already working with us. Here I can see that there is Red Bull, Furla, banks, big organization that are using us. So DHL is just going to be our example here for the time being. And I think that one of the easiest and most used ways how people use QR codes, the most common ways, is URL. It's simple. You just grab your URL, you put it here, and then you have a QR code. We will actually create a QR code together just in a second. And you already can see that you can choose between a static and dynamic QR code. Here you have many different types of QR codes. Most of them actually by default are dynamic. So for example, vCard, a virtual business card, is a dynamic QR code, means that you cannot create it static. That's how it works. But in some cases you actually can choose, like in Google Form, and you will see that some of these ones are also static. So let me quickly show you a vCard. This is actually my example, a virtual business card. You can create this. And the cool thing about this one is that actually when you have all the information in your QR code, you can actually download it. So we see it used a lot in the places like business conferences, or even internally inside your office, people walking with the badges and they have a QR code, Why? Because I have too many colleagues, co-workers, or again, sales representatives, and they need to kind of say, hey, this is my information. Keep it so the information doesn't get lost. So this is a great way how companies have been just coming to us and be like, I need a 500 QR codes for my company. So, we know this, or we have a conference coming up. We need QR codes so we can promote our material. And again, it's the QR codes. One of the best ways that we see nowadays that they're being used everywhere is to connect the offline world, like the general world that we see today around us, to the online world. So it's very easy. You create a QR code and people can scan it and they get immediately information to all of the information that you want. So you send the user exactly where you want them. So if it's a URL, that's fine. You can show them a business card with all the information that you have here, all of this information, the social media, you can download it into your phone. So you have it, a little bit of introduction here, my email, website, etc. So this is kind of like a great way to share your information so it doesn't get lost. But there is many other ways you can do it. Let me quickly see some people already asking me questions about vCard actually. So that's actually good timing to address this. Can you add a field to a vCard, maybe a paragraph about the business and what you do? Yeah, so exactly. Here, there is a way to write a little bit of a description, add like a little company name, position, etc. So actually, when you look at this like this is my name, this is my title, and this is just a little bit of a description here. Now, I've seen people who like put a little bit of information more here and less here, so you can actually play around with this. But just generally speaking, those are the main fields where you can edit the vCard a little bit more. In a file, upload a file up to 20 megabytes, and whenever people scan it, they can open it in PDF, JPEG, PNG, etc. Now, I had a question about the real estate specifically from one of the people who is on the call today with the best use in real estate. Now imagine you put a QR code next to your property, and so people can just scan it and have a virtual tour inside the property. They can see the layout, they can see all the information about the piping, the infrastructure, anything. So, and it's all available in front of your property with the QR code. So scan the QR code and you send immediately to the correct place. So in this case, it's going to be PDF or JPEG. So everybody has exactly information available in front of them. You can do the same thing with your business. In front of your business, you can, for example, you scan it, you have all your business hours, what you sell, your menu, anything can be there. So that's a really great way how you can do it. Now, some people just want to kind of like list all their links in one place. So, like maybe you want to have URL, maybe you have email, you see how they're popping up here. And we have actually a few examples here live. This one is the Disney example. So you have, again, a little bit of a logo, a title. We have a video here and a little bit of social media buttons here. So you can actually add a little bit of a video, embed a video, YouTube video, or otherwise. So you can create quite a dynamic version of a QR code here with all your links in one place. So this is going to be a little bit different from what we see in a vCard, because a vCard is more like a personal card, right? With all your information, and you can actually download it to your phone, again, email, etc. But this one is just to list your links. And it doesn't have to be all social media links, as you can see here. We can actually just put all URL, etc. And that's kind of a great way. A lot of our clients have want to just have one place to have all your information again during an event. And that's how you would do it. A menu tagger is a separate product for the restaurants and bars. Again, probably very few people on this call are going to be interested in this, but it's an interactive menu where you can order, pay, and make adjustments to any orders that you want to have. And you can also upload the PDF here, which is kind of easy. Now we can create your own landing page here in our software. So if you don't want to, use your own software, you can create ours, and you can see that it's kind of like there's a lot of things happening here. There's buttons, titles, subtitles, image. You can code this. So this is a great way, an alternative to a landing page. Google Form, this again comes in static and dynamic. You can create a questionnaire. So after you have interacted with the client, you can send them a QR code and they can scan it, and people will have all the information there. Like, hey, did you like us? Give us feedback, come back again. So for example, if you have one of those receipts coming out from, like we buy something and you have a receipt, on the bottom you can put a QR code, and some people will scan it and actually give you feedback. That's quite a great way how to talk to everybody. Now, this is actually going to be one of those QR codes, like a magical QR code that some of you are going to be interested in. And actually, I had received some questions about how do you work with many countries in the world? Like, especially in the part of the world that we are talking about right now, Southeast Asia. It doesn't have to be Southeast Asia. I understand there's countries like Japan, India, Australia, etc. on the call today. So it's not only the Southeast Asia, but we just generalize it. But still, in this part of the world, in our part of the world, how do you talk to different people from different countries, from different backgrounds, many different languages, etc.? And this is a QR code that will solve this issue for you. So imagine one QR code and you have a DHL here, right? This is just again, my example is DHL. So by default, we will show the .com, right? For all the users. But imagine that we are in Singapore, right? And then we can put a different, I think SG, and then Australia. So depending on where people are scanning from in the world, you can show them different landing pages. And that's great, right? Because like, for example, you can have a bottle, and on a bottle, you can have one QR code. And if you're selling this bottle in, Japan, China, etc., you can show them different landing pages. So, and the same we have also for languages. So if you have a user with a specific language, sorry, say again, I don't know, Japanese, right? Okay, Philippines, Philippines, yeah, we speak a different language. Okay, the point is that we can try to show, based on the language of the location, we can show them different landing pages and also customize our pages, our presentation, given the language of the place where we are scanning. So here, again, you can just check whatever language you want, and English, Finnish, Greek, German, and then you can add it based on the place where they are in the world. You can show them different locations. So if you have English as your main language on your phone, you will see a English landing page. If it's some other language, you will see, like Japanese, you will see a different landing page here. Based on number of scans, so imagine that first people get a promotion 1, and then if 10 next people get a promotion 2. So that's kind of for a lot of marketeers right now on the call. It's going to be a great solution because, if you're giving this promotion based on who comes first, that's going to be a great way, and you can loop this. You can create based on time of the day. So for many businesses, they work on a time of business hours, right? So if in the morning, say a restaurant can give them a breakfast menu, afternoon lunch menu, and dinner in the evening. So that's how you create it. And Geo Fencing is a new option that we have created recently. And what is happening is that I can create based on where I am or where I want my business to be, say in Madrid here, that people only from that location can scan my QR code. So if it's outside this location, if outside this radius, somebody wants to scan the QR code, then it's just not going to open. And that's kind of like a security feature which we have. Let's create one more here. So imagine that you said, hey, my business is sensitive. There is a very sensitive information. And so I want only for people to be able to open it in Paris and in this case, Madrid, right? And yeah, so you can create little bit places where people in the world can open it. And if somebody tries to open it outside this location, then they can't. Okay, so that's kind of a great way also to limit your QR codes if you need that. This is for people who have like apps in their business. So you know how instead of having to show different URLs based on like if it's Android, Apple, or Harmony, new technology, then you don't have to have 3 different QR codes. You can have one QR code and you can send people to correct destination based on the software of the phone that they're using. Now, this is kind of a cool QR code that you should have in your business at home, actually. It's a free QR code because it's a static QR code. So you create it, you put all this information here, and whenever people scan it, they automatically connected to your Wi-Fi network. So again, if you have like a restaurant, a cafe, or like otherwise just an office or at home, you can just have this QR code and people can, instead of being like, what's the password? You just give them a QR code, they scan, connected very fast, and it looks like magic the first time you do it. So that's great. Now you can upload an MP3 file here. Great for, I have a client, for example, who is a DJ. He puts samples of his music here. Now we have social media QR codes here, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. Now, why we created it separately, these ones, is because Facebook, or nowadays Meta, is a little bit particular. Okay, so if you scan the QR code usually, And if you just put it here, then it will open you within the browser. Now, if you know that most people are using nowadays smartphones, and you can also use a tablet to scan your QR code. So you don't want people to be opening your QR codes in the browser because the user opened it and most of the people are not logged in. And then you want people to open within the app. And this is what happens if you open it here. Using this QR code, you actually open your QR code inside the app. So you retain your user, they subscribe to you, and then that's how you keep the client going. That's how you build perspectives. Now, quick information here on the vCard, you also have social media here. And here you have also in the link to bio, you have also social media. That all of this will open within an app. But if you put it in a URL, if you put your social media here in URL, then it's actually going to open it within a browser. So we kind of create a little bypass for you if you're interested in this. Again, if you want to just list all your social media, just put it here. I think that's a great way. Now we have a little bit more of different QR codes. I guess it starts from the most common to least common. Email, you can rewrite your email, and people, when they scan QR code, they have already all the message here. They just have to click send. And that's a great way how you can create a lead generation. You can write a little bit of text here. Thank you for scanning. If you just need a little bit of text, that's how you do it. By the way, this QR codes are static, so they're free. You can create as many of them as you want. But if you actually want to edit this message later on, I would recommend you to create a landing page, because I actually had one client who created a static QR code with called text. And then later on, hey, I want to change my message. And they couldn't because it's a static QR code. You can pre-write an SMS, so they scan it and they have the message pre-written. You can organize an event and share it with people when they scan the QR code, or you can share your location using this QR code, so people scan it and they see your location. Quite easy. Now, actually, what I want to do next is I want to create with your QR code, because it's going to actually answer a lot of different questions. What we do first is we put your URL or any other information that you want, select the type of QR code that you want. In this case, it's going to be dynamic, and then you can play around with it a little bit. You can create a little bit more pretty or more standard. In this case, let's go with, I want to do something interesting today. I'm going to create a little bit different QR code, and then I'm going to also create this eyes, 1, 2, 3. We can have something more funky. Actually, let's go with a little bit more common in this case. And I'm going to also upload a logo right here in the center. And we're going to use a DHL logo. And you'll see how easily it just shows up here. You see, it doesn't even take space. It actually looks pretty nice. And you can customize it, make it the colors more custom. You can gradient. And we can change the direction. And the interesting thing about this is that if you actually put it quite light, then it's going to give you a little bit of a warning message saying that your background of the image should be lighter than the front. So this pattern should be visible, because if you have a very light weather, if you have if you have light, your QR code, then sometimes it's not scannable. So one of the things that we recommend is always test your QR codes, because some of the brand colors can affect this scannability. Another thing that we always tell to our clients is add a call to action. Tell people why they're scanning your QR codes, because sometimes people just put their QR codes and they say, hey, people will know what it means. They will scan it automatically. No, they do scan your code automatically, but sometimes if you actually tell them what's going to happen if they scan QR codes, you add up to 80% more scans. So this is like a study we made internally, because I guess people just want to know what will happen if they scan it. So scan and win, scan and see the menu, scan and get 10% off. So just have a little bit call to action, and you will see that it's will increase the effectiveness of your QR codes. Now, for this example specifically, I will remove the frame. I'll show you why exactly I did it in a second. You can save it as a template, so you can reuse the template in the next time, so you don't have to recreate the templates, the brand colors, find your brand colors every single time. And you can download it in different formats. PNG is more a format for online, so if you want to keep it on mobile or on your website, then you use PNG. SVG is scalable vertographic, means that you can scale it up and down. It will not lose its resolution, so it's best for printing. And I'm gonna download this QR code, and it will show up here in my dashboard. I already have a couple of QR codes here created. Now, the cool thing is that if you have many different QR codes, again, I work with enterprise people, sometimes they have hundreds, if not thousands of different QR codes. So they need to have a little bit more organization, saying, okay, this is campaign 1, this is a brand 2, etc. And then so they can rename it. You can add it to a watch list, or you can add it to a folder. Like we have brand 1, brand 2, customer support, marketing, sales. It's just like an examples of folders that you can add it to. If you are a marketeer, you can add a retargeting to your QR code. So follow your clients via Google Tag Manager or via Facebook Pixel. You can add an expiry. So for example, you have an event today, but you don't want to show the QR code tomorrow, or you have promotion today, you don't want to show it tomorrow. That's how you do it. Number of scans. So first 100 people get your discount, and then nobody else will. And IP, what it means is that if I scan it one time, it opens the QR code, and if I scan it again with the same device, it doesn't open it. So for example, if you have a promotion, everybody gets one of something. That's how you do it. So if I scan it once, it's open. Second time, it doesn't. But the next person to me can still scan it one time. So it goes. Now, this was actually a question that I received on chat, and that's the difference in how you see data. So if somebody scans your QR code, you can see a precise location up to a street, a door number of your QR code where it was scanned. And that we will use a GPS tracking to locate the scans where they take place. Now, this is generally speaking not compliant with GDPR unless you ask people to give them permission. So if you click this button, you're essentially asking a user to give you a permission to share their location, exact location. So if they consent, then you see exact location where the scan took place. If they don't, then you don't see the information where they took they scanned their QR code. So if you keep it off like this, what will happen is you get general location. I'll show you how exactly it will be. But generally speaking, it was taken in Singapore. Generally, it was taken in Tokyo or etc., Manila, Melbourne, etc. So you generally speaking know where it was taken from, but you don't know specific. So for some businesses, it's very important to know exactly where the clients are located, or it's not, so you can do it without it. So essentially what I'm saying is you add an extra step. You can also add like a Geo Fencing, like I told you before. It's essentially a way how you can limit people to be able to scan it only from one place. So if they scan it outside that place, they cannot open the QR code. Notification. If somebody scans your QR code, you can receive email notification saying the QR code got scanned. It's important for some people, but if you have too many QR codes and you have like daily emails and your email box can get flooded, so generally speaking, when you have it off, you can protect your QR codes with the password. That's important for some businesses, and you can edit your QR codes here, for example, 1, 2, 3, etc. It's great stats. This QR code actually doesn't have any stats. I'm going to open one with stats here. You can see that we already had some scans in July and here right now in October. So 7 people scanned it. One of the people scanned it twice, so total scans 8. And you see by device, by location, number of scans by device. And here I just need to refresh here quickly. Sometimes it does it on my laptop. Somebody here in Australia took one scan. I actually have most data in US and here in Europe. Here in Barcelona specifically, let me actually zoom in here. This is a specific location. I was right here in this exact housing when I was scanning this QR code, and I asked it to be exact location. So it showed me where exactly I was. So this, like as you can see, up to a door number, it's very precise. And then I took some few other scans here in Barcelona, generally speaking. So it's known that I was in Barcelona. That's not exactly where I was when I took the scans, but generally speaking, it's known that Barcelona was the place where I took the scans. And then you can see that we have a little bit of scans all over Europe as well. Here we have a little bit of a log. So here is what we call it a general accuracy of 500 kilometers. And when you get very specific, you can see that it's very, very specific. So you can know exactly where your clients are scanning from. I have a little bit of a map to show you more like visually how it's done, and that's data. You actually can download the file with all the data here if you need it to have like in one place, so you can analyze it later. But also what you can do is you go here in settings, and you will have an ability to integrate it with, say, Google Analytics, so you can have all your scans showing up in your Google dashboard. This was one of the questions that I had before. One thing that we will also, we'll just skip on this because it's not very important for us right now. But what we will see is that instead of having what we call a white label, so if you scan our QR code, you will see this white label. So this will be one of the QR codes that I have. But if I have the DHL QR code, okay, so I'm DHL, and instead of having our white label as you saw it, but I want to have my own DHL level, I can have it like this. So I can say qr.dhl.com, or I can say marketing.dhl. And this is how you do it. You go use this onshore domain to create customized QR codes with your onshore domain, and you will see it. You can even upload your Felicon. Felicon is this little logo here on top. So you'll see that you can do this. For people who are using different languages, see that we have plenty of different languages. You can use your own, and you can also show your software in different languages. So for people who are scanning, you can have it. And integrations, this is actually important for some people. So if you're using a design software like Canva, I have an example here. Let's open this. You will see that it's already integrated with Canva. And this is the QR code that I just created. This is my business card, so I can just, as easy as this, drag and drop. So here's the QR code that we just created, and there it is, nicely on top of your business card. So you can integrate it with other things as well, besides the design software, which is Canva. Have HubSpot for CRM, Zapier for 1,000 other applications, and Monday to create tasks for you. We will have a Salesforce integration coming soon, but if you don't want to use one of those third-party software, if you want to connect your software directly to our backend, then you can create QR codes on demand, or you can also create, like, for example, if somebody scanned, your system can do something like, I don't know, like send a product or print a ticket, etc. And how you do it, use our API documentation here. Essentially what it does is explain you how to connect your backend to our backend to create QR codes on demand, customized, nice, specified to exactly like you want it. And you can also create QR codes in bulk, up to 3,000 QR codes in one go. So for companies that use many different QR codes, say hundreds if not thousands, it's kind of convenient, and you can just create all your QR codes in one go. I'm not going to touch on this too much, but if you have questions about it, please let me know. Now going back here to settings, things that I touched on almost everything here. Again, there is other things that I haven't touched in. That's fine. That's completely fine. What I want to do right now is I want to go back to our presentation. Actually, I want to kind of take a little break right now, and I want to share with you a different poll. So it's just like so we can relax a little bit to have a little bit more interaction. So I've been speaking for a lot, so now you have an opportunity to answer a quick question. In your opinion, what's the biggest challenge when you're using QR codes in marketing campaigns? Again, we have mostly people who are in marketing. So we see that a few of the things that are important is a lack of awareness among the target audience. Okay, what's the QR code, what it's for, how do I use it? So maybe some clients are not aware of the QR code, so they will not use it. That's one concern. Design aesthetics. So the look of the QR codes and how you can integrate it in your marketing campaign so it looks perfect and on point. That's the second concern. Ensure seamless user experience. So, maybe it's complicated, maybe it's too many steps and people get lost. And I see that a lot of people are saying that security concerns is one of the most important concerns for them. And I will readdress it because, I think so many people right now on the call actually have this as the main concern. But just to touch point by point, so lack of awareness among target audience. Now, what we've seen, like I said in the beginning, that the QR codes appeared, and suddenly they disappeared because nobody was using them. And then COVID appears, and people need a way to create contactless way to create orders, to do many different transactions. And they realize, hey, by the way, it's actually people are using it. It's very effective to connect the offline world, physical world with the digital world. And you can share all this information, so you don't have to put like your information like a dhl.com/product1 promotion 3. Instead of having all that information in your marketing campaign, you can have it on top in one QR code, everything in one place, and say like, wow, it's actually working. And the more people started to using it, from the COVID until today, the more it became like a revolution. So it's like I said, nowadays on almost every storefront, every business has a QR code. It's very impressive how QR code went from nothing to like just a biggest explosion. So I think the lack of awareness can still exist in some people, but for the most people, most businesses actually know what it is. They know how to use it, and actually they get really great results by using it. Design and aesthetics, we already touched on the many aspects, how you can customize your QR code to make it very pretty and, with brand awareness and, interesting. And then you can also integrate it into your designs. You can put it here. QR codes, they simplify something very important, so that's kind of nice. It shows seamless user experience. So it's in my opinion, it's very seamless. If you scan the QR code, and most people know how to do it, they have the scanners which integrate into the smartphones nowadays. It's easy. You scan it, you go to the page that you want. I think it's pretty seamless. And security concerns, we already touched on few ways how you can guarantee that your QR code is secure. So one of the ways that you can do it is by creating what we call a Geo Fencing, protecting your QR code so they can be opened exclusively from certain locations in the world. That's one. And then you can also say, go here back into our QR codes. You can create a password on them. You can create expiry date, so you don't have people. It's not being able to open outside, say, a certain date. You can give access internally. So internally, you can also prevent people from saying, okay, this department can open. This is mostly done for enterprise users, but okay, this is also a possibility. And you can see the scans where they're taking place. I think one of the ways how people were using our QR codes is actually for security purposes. So if they would look at the data and they say, hey, this scan was taking place in the wrong place, somebody is misusing our information. So they had this way how to guarantee their security. And actually, I'm going to open another point that I want to address from the get-go, which is pricing and plans, because that was one of the questions what appeared later on, which is a plan that I should be using. Actually, I'm going to answer a lot of questions that I've seen asked in advance here. But before I go here, I actually want to talk about this security certificate. It's ISO 27001. What it means is that a lot of enterprise companies, like the big corporations that we already have seen here, McDonald's, Red Bull, etc., Hilton, Greenpeace, etc. They came to us and they said, listen, we are a big organization. We have a huge security concerns when it comes to QR codes. Your system has to be flawless in terms of security, of being unhackable, etc. So, our information not being able to open by strange people. Our QR codes has to be secure. They should be able only open in certain environments. And what this ISO certificate provide is the highest security to this day on internet. And we actually get a lot of companies. That's probably half of my job, is just to go through all those security questions every day and then answer again. Oh, we actually protected on this front, and we are protected on this front. So generally speaking, this is a certificate just to prove that we have that. And we also have what we call a insurance, a digital, what's called cyber security. So if ever something happens, we compensate our clients. We have that because some of our clients actually requested us to do it. I have a question. Let me see if it's relevant. Yes, the recording will be shared in the future after the call for your reference. I will also give you other ways how you can answer your questions. Just in a second, you can ask me about the different plans. I think a lot of people on the call maybe already have a freemium plan, which is a free plan that gives you access to 3 different QR codes, but it has our logo somewhere in the middle. Whenever you create a QR code, people will see it's hosted by QR Tiger. You will not see this information if you choose any of the paid plans, so that information doesn't exist. There's some limit to scans, which is fine, but here you immediately get 12 QR codes. You have many different options already. So again, if you want a little bit more functionality, if you were looking for a specific QR code, sometimes you need to update to a higher plan. So for example, remember we were talked about a multi-URL QR code that's only available here. Geo Fencing is available here. Onshore domain available here. And again, here, for example, some integration with Google Analytics, expiry, it's available only in this plans. So again, it's based on your needs. So really, you might not need like 600 QR codes or like, thousands if you go for enterprise. But you can also think in terms of what you actually want to do with your QR codes. Based on that, you can make a decision. Again, most people who are in the call might have already been using freemium, and we actually get a lot of questions like, "Hey, why can't I use this?" Well, it's because the freemium plan is very limited, and again, you will see our logo here, and you will not be able to use certain types of QR codes. I generally speaking recommend you to just pick a plan. I don't care if it's regular, premium, or enterprise, but I think if you want to get the most of our system, you will get this. And of course, all the static QR codes are for free always. But if you don't want logos, don't use this. So we have 20 different types of QR codes, a little bit of ways how you can use it in marketing to promote products and services, to track data, collect leads, and create more brand awareness and customer engagement. You can use it like on this banner over here. They created a little nice QR code with call to action shop me, and they're giving 30% off. That's how they incentivize people to scan the QR code, and that's what they see when they scan it. You can use it for tracking and inventory, so logistics. Here on the you can scan this QR code and you can see what's inside, or you can track your parcel wherever it's in the world. So manage inventory, efficient stock replenishment, reduce manual errors, and improve supply chain visibility. We already talked about having a virtual business cards on ID, employees, or in sales. So connect to people, create leads, eliminate manual data entry. So people misspelling your name, misspelling your email, etc. So that's kind of like simplifies a really great way to keep all the leads coming. So great for networking, saves time, improves efficiency. Again, this is a little bit how it could look, or the one that I showed you. Now, remember that QR code that we used to give feedback. So this is the way you could put it on top of your receipt. And here, hypothetical situation where the customer maybe wants to express something and they might not know how to do it. They can just scan the QR code and then they can give their feedback in terms like this. Did you like something? Did you not like something? And then it quickly to show spot trends, collect data and feedback, address concerns, and make data-driven decisions, which is great. Now, you can also use it for data purposes. I had another question I see here. I will address it in just a second. You can make a data-driven decisions. So this is just a quick examples of the ways how you can use QR codes specifically on social media, to promote a social event. You can drive traffic to social media or websites. There was a drone show that was a really nice and creative way how to promote your QR code so they are scanned more often. So people were scanning it, and then they would lead some to a place, upcoming TV series in this case. And then you can have it on bus stops. I'm sure you've seen it on the storefronts to promote social media. So to promote a new line of products. This was an example asked by our one of the people who was on the call. So they asked, how do we create for government institutions, how we can use the QR codes? I actually, sorry, I have a little bit of time. I will send you those slides to this person question, so we don't have to other people to waiting. So you can create a dissemination of information. You can have access to services. So simplify government processes and eliminate physical queues, reduce waiting time. You can have contactless transactions, so payments. So very, very big way how people are doing it, to pay fees, fines, etc. Process payments, so that it's very easy. This is another example that we have from a previous call, healthcare. So remember how COVID, they had like different ways how they saw what's happened. And you can have all the information about your clients, about all the, patient record identification, medication inside the store. So you can keep all the inventory in one place, medical inventory again, and maintenance. So you can know what's happening. And even in school, that's one more example that we had from a previous call. And then people were asking how we track attendance, share resources online. So, it could be very good for the office, for the different files that you have in the office, and multilingual approach. Like we said, that it might be very important for everybody because, in Asia, Southeast Asia specifically, there is a lot of countries, there is many languages. So you want to have like a specific tailored approach. Now, just to sum up, we have many different integration, whether it's direct integration with API connecting your backend to our backend, and all these different apps that you can use to facilitate this. you can create our QR codes in bulk. So instead of creating one by one, you can create up to 3,000 in one go and just upload your CSV file and you have an output of our QR codes. Why we are reliable, we have 99 uptime and we are connected to multiple countries on Amazon AWS. We are scalable, we have up to 20 billion clicks tracked yearly, and we have infrastructure that is designed to scale with you. So if your business grows, we grow with you. We are very fast. We have created over 1,000 branded clicks per second, and we are scaling service clusters, rapid auto scaling. That's a little bit technical. We are flexible. We have 18,000 people plus developers who are using our API technology. We are safe. We have both the human and AI artificial intelligence who monitor our infrastructure. So there is no problems, and we GDPR compliant. So this is mostly for Europe, but it of course applies to the rest of the world as well. I already touched on many different brands, known brands that are using us. I'm sure that you recognize some of them. For example, Cartier, Uber, and TikTok. That's one of them. And given this, we are just have a very user-friendly interface, seamless integration, advanced bulk, like I said, competitive prices, and commitment to data privacy. To this actually list, I will add that we have an amazing customer support, and that's like one of the great ways why people choose us is because sometimes when they have an issue that something is not working, it's very rare that this happens with us. But people have questions sometimes. It's maybe like, why doesn't this work? How do I create an API better for integrations? We have people who reply to you within 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. We have a really amazing customer support, multilingual, so whatever you're in the world, they can answer you 24/7 on the spot, fast. So if you have any concerns, questions, etc., we are one of the best, if not the best, on the market in terms of customer support. We are one of the best in terms of pricing. It's definitely we have on point pricing, and our software is just amazing. You've seen how much you can do with our software. This is just a little offer for you if you're still wondering whether you join us. There's a little bit of promotion code, discount code. If you miss this code, just email me. I will resend it to you. So webinar SIA, Southeast Asia. And now I will actually touch on the questions. Again, thank you very much for everybody who was here on the call.